Welcome to our B2B breakout session. It's awesome to be here at ACL. I was actually in this very room on Friday at a concert with a woman called Charlotte Matthews, and I looked up, she has 800 million streams on Spotify, and I promise there are more people in the room now to hear us talk about B2B. It makes you go pretty good. We had 800 million streams worthy, John, which is very nice. So Derek gave a little bit of introduction, but for those of you who I haven't met, and I want to meet everyone that's in this room, so come find me afterwards. I'd love to have a conversation, whether you're a tech partner, agency, or a wonderful customer or prospect. I'm Lance Owide. I'm our general manager, a VP of B2B here at BigCommerce. I spent all day thinking about how to make manufacturers and distributors more successful. I'm joined by John McCann.
Hey guys, John, Senior Director of Product Management for B2B.
We have an absolutely packed agenda, so we're going to try and run through it reasonably quickly and on time. Let's see how well we do. We are going to start by doing a little bit more of a deep dive into our latest B2B Edition updates. John gave you a quick intro, a little taster, and we're going to dive deeper. We're going to talk about integrated payment solutions. There's nothing more important than getting paid if you're a manufacturer or a distributor, but that reconciliation on the back end can be a right pain in the ass. We're going to show you how we're making that easier. We're going to talk about our B2B roadmap, what's coming next. Of course, we'll talk about AI. You heard John also talk about that on stage. We're going to double click into what does the future look like for B2B AI. And then finally, we're going to welcome our new partners, Pros, up on stage to introduce you to them, a fantastic leader in the CPQ space. But first, John, take us away.
All right. So it's something I really believe in funding. I love building things. I love using the right tools for the job. So to send you this demo, we're going to go through, we're using Catalyst plus Makeswift plus B2B Edition. So best-in-class storefront, best-in-class visual editing, best-in-class B2B toolity through our buyer portal. We'll set this demo up, which Lance, you can set the stage. Take away.
I will set the stage. So for this demo, I'm going to take off my hat as the general manager of B2B here at Commerce. I'm going to put on a hat as general manager at Peak Performance Gear. We are a franchise retailer. We sell performance hiking and sports equipment. We operate back in my home country of the UK, so I'm going to feel very nostalgic as you see some of the demo. We have 20 stores in 4 different regions and 60 buyers across each of those stores. So we are probably, for you customers in the audience, a pretty standard business that you sell to. A lot of the businesses that you sell to will look like this. But the suppliers that I buy from today generally have pretty old and antiquated systems. We use shared logins, we send emails for orders, we send faxes, we send phone calls. John, my counterpart over here, he is the sales manager at Big Trail. And he's been telling me that Big Trail has a much better experience, much better products, and much better pricing than his competitors. And so I decide to give it a go. I navigate into his site, and it looks great. This is the Big Trail wholesale site. It looks more like a V2C experience. There's fantastic content. It's lightning fast. And so I'm excited to test out what it's going to take to register as a new Big Trail customer. Because at the end of the day, remember, B2B is about efficiency. It's not just about seeing some pretty PVPs and adding products into a cart. This needs to be efficient. I can register on his site in about 2 minutes, and that includes uploading my tax certification and creating my very complex password with about 20 characters split. This is really simple. For you agencies or B2B businesses in the audience, think about how simple this is for onboarding your long tail of customers, right? They can get on board into your site in less than a couple of minutes. That is really important. I've submitted that registration. Let's see what John does with it, how quickly he approves.
All right, I've been hustling Lance for a while to get this account. Really excited to have him in here. I'm going to go ahead and log in and open his account or review some details here. I'm going to give him the best pricing possible to start with. So we got another platinum level. Go ahead, everything looks good, and we will approve this account. So now he's going to be able to purchase. He'll have all the products available that he needs. We'll see Lance is a designated admin there. I'm going to have myself as the sales user here. I want to make sure that I'm getting paid on this account. I've been working hard trying to hunt down this business. Then we have the tax cert and credit app. I'm going to bring up finance and that day. Process this ASAP. This is a big deal. All right, what's Lance going to do? Also,
So as a B2B customer, I just got an email saying that my account has been approved. Great. Now, John could actually have set that in the background to auto-approve, but he didn't. He wanted to make sure that he attached his name so that he got the emails and all the commissions. I can now navigate to the PDPs, and it seems like I can add items directly to a quote from these pages. With my other suppliers, if I want to create a quote, which I do when I'm ordering a lot of products, or I have specific delivery requirements, or I'm asking for a discount, I have to do this with emails back and forth, maybe some text messages, a phone call or two. Here, on John's site, being powered by B2B Edition, I can navigate each of the PDPs, select the product, select the quantity, select the different variants, and add them directly into the quote. When I navigate to the quote itself, and this is obviously the buyer portal that John referenced on the stage earlier, I can add more products if I've forgotten something, either by typing in a SKU or uploading a CSV. And once I'm ready, I can add messaging into the quote as well directly. I need these products ASAP sent to my stores because I am out. I can put that into the message. I can then submit this directly to John, who can respond. Of course, I could actually take this to a checkout now if I wanted to pay his pricing that's displayed on the site. I don't. I want a discount. Let's see how John can respond to this in the back end with BigCommerce's brand new CPQ tooling.
all right, so I'm going to get in here, pull up this quote. I kind of noticed him as a sales rep said, hey, you got this new quote. Check out this message. Lance wants this stuff fast. This is not unusual. I deal with this every day. Tell him no problem. Let him know that his account has been approved. He's got $10,000 of credit, so our finance team is amazing. So he'll see that now, has a new notification and message. All of this I could edit. I'm going to go here to the product table. You'll see that little settings icon. I have this in the view that I like as my preferences for my sales login. I'm going to add this backpack because I know we have some great margin on this. We have some backstock. And you'll notice I'm adding a note here. This is where I prefer to add my notes, and also be adding those in the product table or hiding those all together if I didn't want to use that. And then adding 15 of those. So we want to be able to go fast, but we want to make sure that we have the ability to make the necessary modifications. 50% discount, I'm really generous. Like John, we're going to calculate the raise. We're getting this through the platform itself, so it's qualifying for shipping. That will pull in LCL weights if you had that set up. All right, quote looks good. So I'll hit submit. Again, this will be in his buyer portal, and then I always like to send an email because it sends them that instant notification, and they can review it right then and there. And ideally, and we see in the data that people click this checkout link more often than not. They're going straight to the quote itself to open it. So let's see if Lent takes a bit.
Yes. I received an email saying that I've got a brand new quote. I also noticed when I was at the trade show where I met John that he was taking orders directly from within the quote page because we've made that easier than ever to do. You can now add new buyers and new addresses from directly within the quote. So for those businesses that operate at trade shows, this is now for screen that you can use. And there are 75% fewer clicks to get from a quote submission to a response, which is incredible. So I received that checkout email, or the quote email, and it's got checkout at the bottom, but I'm actually already logged in to BigTrap. So I head to the buyer portal, and I can see he's responded to the quote. He's given me a great discount, 50%. He's given me my net terms of 30 days and $10,000 of credit, which is supported by BigCommerce's new B2B Edition credit management tool. Pretty awesome. I take this straight into a checkout. I should be able to go through the checkout without putting in any credit card details or ACH, and I can. I could just put in my PO number, and hey presto, I have checked out, which is awesome. John tells me my invoice will be in the portal ready for me to pay in 30 days when those terms run out. Great. This was all fantastic. But as I mentioned right at the beginning, I have a reasonably standard setup of a business. I'm Peak Performance Gear. I operate in London, Manchester, Cardiff, and Edinburgh. I feel so homesick right now. Each of those regions have 5 stores in them. Previously, we've been sharing logins across these stores. That is a horrible experience, huge security risk for me as a business. And so I say, John, hey, can you actually create this hierarchy within your site so that it can mimic my real life and I can distribute logins across each of those stores? I put this into an email along with another request. I want some bespoke roles set up. I have a specific role for my finance team where all I want them to be able to do, they sit at HQ and all they can do is log in and pay and manage invoices. I also have a curate role and a store administrator role. And John tells me that with the new BBB edition, custom buyer roles and permissions, he is going to be able to do this. So I put it all into an email and I send it off to John. Let's see what he does.
All right, so I think we have this new account hierarchy. I've taken this list and imported it to create all of the different companies. I'm going to show you how I edit this. So we're taking the Downing Street and moving it up to the wanted region. So we'll see this is one region here. We'll grab and then we're going to move that London region into the headers. And so we'll click back over to the hierarchy tab. And you'll see how this is nicely populated. And we'll see all three regions that are there. We're missing the Edinburgh region. I've been corrected on how to say that. We're going to move that to the headquarters. He's not joking, I actually tang. And so now we have this full hierarchy here, 4 different regions, all the stores rolling up to those as you would expect. Again, mimicking real life. But let's add another slide in there about permission. And he's bugging me about this finance role. He wants his finance people to only see invoices, doesn't want them purchasing or creating lists. Just get in there and create those, pay those invoices. And so I've gone and created a user that does just that. So that when Lance logs in, he can create and add users and assign that permission set so that they can move across the entire organization, just pay invoices.
Hi. So I've logged into BigTrail, and John has now set up my company hierarchy. That's representation of how my business actually operates. So I can see my regions, Edinburgh, London, and the others, Manchester, and I can switch between those, both region nodes, so everything within that region, as well as the individual stores. So if I'm working an individual store, why is this useful? I think it's obvious to most people, but it's worth repeating. I can now see aggregated views of my orders and my invoices. So I have orders that I'm commonly placing across these stores. Maybe I do it as one order, I'm making consignments, but I could also just copy those orders across. I could do the same with lists. So as I'm setting up this structure, it's really simple for me to move these data around to these different stores and different regions. I also mentioned John was creating a brand new role for me. He has done that. He has created this finance role, and he'd create many more as well with our new permissions, buyer roles and permissions. So I can now create that finance user and control it myself. John mentioned earlier that I can pay my invoice online. That's just making my side of that process efficient. We know that for you manufacturers and distributors in the audience, there's nothing more important than getting paid, and there's nothing more important than reconciling those payments and making sure they're accurate. So I'm going to hand to John, who's going to walk through some innovation that we're making in that space.
Yeah, so we've partnered with Blue Staff, but yeah. And what they've done is they've connected, and we'll use BigTrail as an example. So that order comes in, you're going to have an invoice created. We need to reconcile that so that when the buyer gets back into the portal that shows us paid, we also need to collect that payment. We need to reconcile actual payment. So this integration will connect to the NetSuite, Sage, Business Central, QuickBooks. They might have a few others there as well, but it really connects these dots seamlessly. I'm not sure what this looks like. So we're creating the invoice here in NetSuite. We'll just use a sample here, grab a company, and then we're going to add an item to this invoice. All right. So we've got invoice 236. So that we're starting in the ERP, and move into the buyer portal, get into the invoices. You'll see invoice 236 right there, $1,082. Select that, and we're going to make a payment. We're going to use the storefronts, the buyers in here, they're making this payments. You got this invoice here, and they can short pay this. They could pay multiple invoices at once. And we're going to use the vaulted payment here, and they have their designated payment for their company that they're approved to use. Maintenance payments. Okay, so we've collected this payment. Now this needs to be reconciled. And usually there's a process here. This is all automated using this integration. We'll hop over to NetSuite, hit refresh. We'll see paid in full. You can't see this here, just show that pay and then $0 due. So just like that, we have helped create more efficiency for this B2B brand so that we're fully reconcile this entire payment. In B2B Edition, we're also showing the payment as well as the invoice all reconciled using that integration. So connecting more of the dots and building more of this efficiency, this is where you start to, again, stack value for the brand so they can do the things that matter. Okay, quick recap, a little bit of roadmap stuff here. CPQ hierarchy is available today. This demo we showed you is using Catalyst 1.0 plus the buyer portal. We have a reference implementation for that at catalyst.dev. Done a lot of work to improve how quickly you can stand that out. You can integrate Makeswift. There's a Makeswift integration branch. We are working towards building one unified reference implementation, so you just have one place to go for that. Unified API tokens. So currently we have 2 tokens, one for B2B Edition, one for the platform. You'll now create your tokens at the platform level, and you will authenticate any B2B Edition APIs under that token. If you have existing tokens, don't worry, it'll continue to work. You're welcome, my partner friends. I know this has been painful. I'm very, very excited for you to have this shortly. Custom quote and invoice templates. So we want you to be able to fully customize the look, feel, any bit of the data inside those templates. So that'll be coming out this year. And then multi-language on a single storefront. So currently you can translate the buyer portal and it's at the channel level. And if you really want to do multi-language at each one of those channels, that's two of the words that we realized a little painful. We want to make that super easy. So that's in our pipeline. But Lance, where's the rest of my slide?
It wouldn't be a 2025 product roadmap session without talking about some AI. And we're not going to recap everything that John showed on the stage earlier. Alan presented around contextual text to create your storefront. We went through the storefront MCP. We went through the merchant MCP, some fantastic tool. We will double click into some of that, but not all of it. And I love your demo of the buy AI. That was very, very cool. Drag and drop that PO straight in. It identifies the products you don't have, and then so much more that's going to come to that tool. But let's be clear. I came to BigSummit today in a car that drove itself. It drove itself. So if we in this room and as B2B businesses think that our customers are going to be logging into sites in 5 years, I think we might be a little bit wrong. It is our view here at BigCommerce that chances are within the next X number of years, I don't know what that number is, AI and agent-to-agent commerce is coming for B2B. That is the future. Not quite yet, but it is the future. I mean, 30% of B2B business is still online yet, so we still got to get them online. We've got a way to go for this. But what I want to do is talk through where we are today, where we're going, what we think the future looks like, and John is going to walk through some of those new MCP tools that we just released and why they are so important, right? Remember, BigCommerce, we service 12,000 manufacturers and distributors. We think B2B, and that's how what we are leading with when it comes to AI. I'm going to start here. This is a pretty common picture for B2B businesses, right? AI tools in the middle, your buyers on one side, manufacturers on the other. Today, for the manufacturers and distributors in the audience, you are sending structured and unstructured data into public AI tools, LLMs, answer engines. Now, I'm going to come back to that point in a sec. There's a bunch of you will be saying, no, I'm not. You kind of are. Your buyers are logging into those tools and asking complex business-related questions back from the answer engines. They're getting answers, plus links to your site. Hopefully it's your site, fingers crossed. And then they're being directed to your site to continue that checkout. Now, there are some problems with this. One, you're not sending that data. They're scraping that data in most cases. And two, this isn't really B2B. We put it right at the top. This is without buyer identity. For the core of your customers, they are all logged in. They have custom prices, custom catalogs, maybe even contract pricing. None of that exists here. None of that exists yet. And I'll get onto that in a second. The first step of this journey is going to be choosing the data that gets sent into those answer engines. And you heard Sharon talk about this. And don't think that what she was talking about was just for B2C. It really is. It is for B2B business as well. Sending structured and unstructured data through pipes directly into those answer engines is going to ensure that you, your brand, your products are discoverable. Now, again, your core business is probably locked into long-term contracts, but that long tail, that's what you've got to be worried about. Those smaller retailers, those smaller businesses that you sell into, they're starting to use these products, starting to use the AI products, I should say, to discover products. They're asking complex questions, and you want to be sure that you are in those responses. So I highly recommend signing up for our Perplexity beta and signing up for what John will share in a second as well. But what does the future look like? That's what I want to talk about. And you'll notice something has changed here. For those of you who work with large enterprise businesses, you know they aren't just relying on third-party public tools to drive success of their business. They are building their own internal AI tools. In the future, you as a supplier are going to need to be able to talk to that internal AI as well as the publicly available AIs, but you're going to need to do it with buyer identity. You're going to need tokenized user credentials to be able to log in and actually provide personalized information to those AIs. That's what the future is going to look like. That buyer is logged in. Now, you're not just supplying generic product data. You are supplying personalized product catalogs, pricing, history, order history into those AI tools, both third-party logged into and those internal tools. And that means that the responses that those AI tools are going to be providing back are going to be personalized as well. And then finally, that orchestration layer, right? That actual placing the order, requesting a quote, invoices and payments, that too can go through these rails. Now, I want to be really clear. This is not possible today. What we showed on stage earlier is fantastic, but it doesn't go all the way to this. Not quite yet. But if this is where the future is going, you want to be sure that you picked a partner and a platform that is building for this future, understands what it means to be B2B in the agentic world. And that's what we're building. So, John, I'll let you take it.
Yeah, so we're diving into where our focus is. When we look at the MCP server, we think about those processes. We want to make sure that the agent knows how to build a shopping, how to build what those things are. We need to actually tell the agent, hey, this is what it is, this is how you do it, this is when you do it. So these are all tools that we have available in our new MCP server. And then we're looking towards other tools like aren't so obvious. What's the buyer's permission? How do you get these invoices, get the payments associated with them? How do you understand what that user is asking the LLM, and how do you tell the LLM to use the right tool? And this is going to be essential to making sure that we can cater to the B2B brand and these exact processes with the new agentic technology. So very, very excited about this. And when we have tokenized logins, we are primed and ready to take advantages. The agents can do even more. We can really set them loose to assist on the full end-to-end process as if they're the user, essentially. So very, very awesome. Sign up for this. This is our new early access, our AI labs. QR code, make sure it's not in your way. Get into the program. We will be releasing these tools iteratively, and they'll all be discovered here. Okay.
Wait, John.
All right. But Laura,
That's the last thing we. John, thank you so much.
Adrian, Brady.
I am super excited that we're building the tools for the future. We know it's a bit scary out there, but with BigCommerce, you've got a partner that understands B2B and understands what the future is going to look like. We started the presentation by talking about the right tool for the job. And I think that's true across every facet of your technology stack. And a couple of weeks ago, we announced our partnership with Pros. And for those of you who don't know Pros, it is a market-leading pricing and CPQ tool. In B2B, in manufacturing and distribution, pricing can be really complex with lots of cascading requirements, multi-layer. Think contract pricing, think buyer group pricing, think frequent price changes, commodity-based pricing, and bespoke order units. Today, BigCommerce supports that for you, our manufacturers and distributors, often with the help of folks in the room and custom middleware solutions. We think that should be more streetwise. And so we're partnering with pros to deliver a scalable solution to those. Okay.
It's in a different language this time.
We did it. I was because we're partnering with pros to deliver scalable solutions to meet these really complex pricing requirements. And so I'm really excited to welcome to the stage John Bruno to introduce pros. John?
All right, I'll try to be brief, just in the event that we have another fire alarm. So as I found myself sitting in this morning's keynote and listening to the words of Travis Hess, I don't know about you, but I was leaning in, I had a lot of head nods. One of the things that he said is that commerce is hard, it's complex. B2B commerce is especially hard and complex. In fact, it's not just you that might be feeling it, it's your customers as well. 77% of today's B2B buyers have said that the buying process is hard, cumbersome, or complex. But it's in these times I get reminded of, the quote from JFK. I'll paraphrase a little bit for the context of commerce, right? We do these things not because they're easy, but because they're hard, right? These are important problems to solve, and if we're able to solve those problems, I think everybody benefits. And so in this world where commerce is complex, right, we see the spectrum, right? We see a lot of customers gravitate towards the offline experience because they have to negotiate really complex pricing. Maybe the product or service they're buying is really complex. But our goal here is to really help those customers move from your left, my right of this slide, from that offline world into that online world. And so for us at Pros, we've largely lived on this full service side of the spectrum, right? We help B2B salespeople negotiate complex contracts, special price agreements, rebate programs, sell complex configured industrial products, services, things of that nature. But we no longer have to live in that world. That's why I'm so excited about this partnership with Commerce, because together we can embed those capabilities directly within those self-service experiences, helping move from that full service to self-service. I'll give you a quick overview of what that might look like from a pricing standpoint. So we all have our ERPs on the back end, our systems of record that contain things like your pricing data, customer data, your cost factors, your inventory, and so much more. Where Pro sits is we can actually take that data, we can push it to your front end, right? We can create managed price lists, customer-specific price agreements, volume pricing, Lance already mentioned it, things like commodity pricing, and so on. And we deliver that right to the commerce carriers. And we can do that a couple of ways. We can push that pricing directly into the BigCommerce catalog, or your storefront can call Pros direct. I think Lance did a pretty good job of giving a Pros overview, but I'll add to it just a little bit. Right? We talk about pricing and the role that Pros has played in pricing, but there's a lot that we bring to the table as well. So whether it's pricing, customer-specific price agreements, rebates, configuration for complex products, you name it. We've traditionally lived in that sales world, pushing this into the CRM where fellows operate, but an open, modular, flexible platform, we can push it directly into that commerce experience as well. And we see really huge potential, right? As I started, right, I talked about that spectrum of full service to self-service and what's at the other end of that rainbow. And so it was actually back in 2018 when the US market for e-commerce sales had projected that by 2023, we'd arrive at about $1.8 trillion of e-commerce revenue. Well, we all know what happened. The pandemic came, we saw a huge spike, and we actually crossed the $2 trillion threshold in that same time period. And now as we look forward, you still see the steady linear growth of e-commerce. And we think that by bringing commerce and pros together, we can achieve a new inflection point and realize exponential growth, right? The things that are keeping people offline, that level of complexity that Travis talked about this morning, if we can solve for that level of complexity, but do so in the self-service channel, that's the inflection point that we're talking about right now. So I'm thrilled. If you want to learn more about pros and what we're doing with commerce, come find me. I feel like I'm one of like the 3 people here wearing a blazer, and it's a pink one, so I should stand out pretty well. But with that, I'll hand it back over to Lance.
Yeah, the pink blazer was a good shout. And if you're interested in learning more about pros, partners, technology providers, VARs, customers, prospects, feel free to register your interest on this little QR code, and we'll be arranging the enablement sessions for ever. I'm going to quickly wrap because we are quite a ways behind now. Guys, if you're not already on B2B Edition and you're a BigCommerce customer, check it out. It may not be right for you, but some of those tools may help you onboard your long tail faster and service your core B2B customers more easily. If right now you don't have a fully integrated payments solution that's helping you reconcile into your backend, let's have a discussion. We have an entire dedicated B2B consultation team, payment consultation team, that would be happy to walk you through the various different options that could include BlueSnap that we showed you that integration of earlier. The AI revolution is coming. It's clearly messing with the fire alarm, so screwing that straight up. And we're preparing you for it. You saw that QR code. I highly recommend signing up. I was chatting to one of our customers earlier, and he was saying there's a big, large, I just saw him walking, so I want to say, here it is. Anyway, a big, large business, and he's saying every single part of their business is being challenged to come up with their AI use cases. Here we go. We just provided you with yours for commerce, so get ready. And finally, we introduced our partnership with Pros, which I am really excited about. Thank you so much for joining us for the session. We really appreciate it. Come and find me. I'll be the underground entrepreneur. Thank you.